Hi and welcome here. This is the DIY MRE system that we actually use, that I actually use on an ongoing basis. So there's no waste, no gimmicks, but real calories. Let me ask you a preparedness question. How much emergency food is sold out there, and maybe you own some of it, that you might not ever eat? Buckets in the basement, these meals that expire quickly, it's money spent, peace of mind that's kind of rented out but never really tested. Today I want to show you something different. This is my DIY MRE emergency food packet system. I'm going to show you every item in here that I store and actually demo how to cook some of it. It's designed for disasters, yes, but also for hiking, road trips, camping, vacations, even keeping one in the vehicle. And here is the key. Nothing in this gets wasted because every single item gets rotated, used, and replaced as part of our normal life. And somewhere in this kit is one item that most people forget. The thing that makes the difference between surviving and actually functioning under stress. So let's break this down. Welcome back. If you are a preparedness-minded person, you already know this. Food insecurity doesn't always look like doomsday. It sure could with world leadership right now, but sometimes it's power outages, evacuations, supply chain hiccups, winter storms, getting stranded, or just being tired, stressed out, and hungry when nothing is open. And the truth is, food that you never use becomes food that you don't really trust. This system fixes that. It's built around rotation. You can eat it on hikes. You grab it for road trips. Again, you grab it for camping. You just replace it naturally as you go. So when you need it for real, you already know how it tastes, how it cooks, how it feels in your stomach. And that really matters. This right here is a one-day high-calorie system. We've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Total calories are between 2,300 and 2,600 in these packages, depending on what you put in there. For most people, that is enough to fuel all your physical movement that you would need. Cold weather, I'm going to refer more on this later. Stress and decision making. And it all fits into a compact modular setup. So let's start with breakfast. Breakfast really is about comfort, warmth, and energy because mornings in emergencies are usually cold, rushed, and stressful. So we've got instant oatmeal. We've got 3 packages. We've got 2 that are flavored, and we've got 1 that is regular. Why the 2 and 1? Well, flavored for morale and just overall tastiness. There's a little bit of sugar in there. And plain for flexibility. You can mix them, tone down the sweetness, or to stretch calories. Oatmeal is lightweight, it is cheap, it is familiar to a lot of us, and it's easy to digest under stress. These do require cooking for comfort, but it can be eaten cold if you had to. All you need is some water. The next items in here are mini dry toasts with peanut butter and jam. These are simple old school calories. Dry toast gives you crunch, it gives you shelf stability, and it's this base for these amazing high calorie, little bit of protein spreads. So peanut butter, it's got your fat, your protein, some longer lasting energy, and jam, well, it just adds some sugar, some quick energy, and honestly, yummy morale boosting fun. This is real food, it's nothing fancy, and it's nothing experimental. Toast, peanut butter, and jam. The next item for breakfast is one of my favorites actually, and I don't know why, but it is a beef stick and a cheese stick. These are packaged together. The beef stick gives you salt, it gives you protein. The beef stick also has something important in it, and that is the chew factor. For me, I just like to be able to actually chew on something, and oatmeal doesn't really do that. The crunchy toast does, but this is a different kind, and I really like the chew factor of a beef stick. Especially in a bad situation, this helps psychologically. Maybe you guys are the same, maybe you're not. Let me know in the comments. But now we'll move on to the cheese stick portion. This gives you a bunch of fat, some protein, calories, familiar comfort. Who doesn't like a piece of cheese in the morning? So these are individually packaged as kind of a 2-in-1. They're easy to rotate and easy to eat on the move if breakfast gets interrupted. For demonstrating cooking, I am going to be using the MSR Pocket Rocket along with a couple different pots I'm gonna show you, but I'm just gonna cook in my canteen cup because I know a lot of you guys said you like canteen cups. So I'm gonna show you what is in here, and a bunch of you guys will know why I have this wrapped in a bandana. But this is my go-to little individual pot when I am out camping and hiking. It's got a bail, and it's also got these big wing holders. So it's just an amazing little pot. I like it. I've even put in here a baking tray. So you can see I've got my little stove. I've got a different stove than this one in there, and I've got a baking tray as well in there. So I can make a biscuit in there. And that's what, even on a stove like this, and that's what this hot spot is from actually, is baking biscuits in this little pot. This little pot is from Mastiff Gears. I like it a lot. On the other side of the table, this is why I want to talk about versatility. Because say you had 4 people that needed to eat at the same time. Do you want everyone to have to cook 4 times in a little pot? Well, maybe in your go bags like we do, we carry one of these large pots. So in this pot, you can actually cook, you could cook 4 people's oatmeal all in one pot and then share that and put it out into your different canteen cups. You're not using 4 individual stoves, you're using 1. Why am I showing you all these pots? Well, it's because I want to give you a little insight into how I use this and why this is so modular. So if I'm out in my, let's just say my more tactical kit, in my belt rig, I actually have 2 canteens and I have 1 pot like this, so I can heat anything up, water, food, whatever I need to in the field. Now, if I am camping by myself or just a couple individuals, I'm gonna take this pot and it is good to go. If I'm doing group camping, which you've seen in some of my other videos, we will take this. This pot is part of our go bag system and one of us carries this. Now, for 7 people, each person has a different component of the total package. For example, one person carries a lot of the water filtration gear. Another person carries a lot more food. Another person carries a lot more tools. This is a pot that we can feed our entire family in one shot, saving fuel and time. The other piece I want to talk about regarding disaster preparedness is redundancy. It's good to have other pots around because you just don't know what's going to happen in what situation and who you're going to be with and all of those things. So these are also durable. All of these things are stainless steel. I don't use aluminum in anything. Stainless steel, and they're all field tested. You can see they've all been smoked. And yes, you can't get that off, but that's okay. I'm going to demonstrate making 2 of these oatmeal packages. So first, let's pour our water. So we need ½ a cup of water per each of those packages. So there we go. Then we're going to light our stove. So you simply turn until you hear the gas. You light, and you put your cup carefully on top. You can see that water's heating up quite rapidly. And here we go. This is from my point of view. We're gonna put the oatmeal in as soon as I turn this off. So what we do is we just, there we go. That is off. And you simply just dump this in. Then we just stir it up. And at this point, I'm just gonna set this down on top of this lid just to keep it off of this wood top. And you can have a look for yourself. That is serious fuel for the day. And here's another thing. You probably saw this when I picked up the pot. This is a little baggie of vanilla whey protein powder. You can add that to your oatmeal, just stir it in, and this adds 25 grams of basically pure protein. So there's ways to get some protein in there as well. And remember, you can eat this meal cold or hot due to circumstances. If you have any questions or ideas about this topic, drop it in the comments. I read everyone and I try to answer everyone as well. Now here's something most emergency food systems get wrong. They assume that you always have time to stop. So lunch in this kit assumes the opposite. One thing as I'm packing up breakfast to talk about lunch next is I have a spoon in every package of breakfast because that's important. Lunch is designed for movement. We're not talking about cooking here. There's no stove, there's no stopping, no drawing attention. You can eat this walking, driving, standing, hiding from the weather. Let's open this up. The first item I want to talk about is tuna salad with crackers. So this is a complete ready-to-eat meal. There's a little can of tuna that is actually really good. It's a tuna salad flavor. It is good stuff. And it gives you protein, fat, and salt. And the crackers in here give you texture and carbs. Yes, it's not glamorous, but it works. I've taken these to the tops of mountains. In fact, I've taken all of these meals out in the wilderness and taken for sure the lunches to the tops of mountains. The next thing is a protein bar, and this really is pure energy efficiency. You've got dense calories, it's shelf stable, and they're very easy to rotate. This one's really high in fat and in carbohydrates, so you get energy from both. Choose one that you already eat. That's the rule. Moving on to Sesame Snap Bar. These are so underrated in my opinion. There's a little bit of sugar for quick energy. There's sesame seeds for fat. Again, that's that theme, carbs and fat, maximum energy, and then of course some protein. So there's crunch for morale. It's small, but it hits when you need it. Like I said, we came back off of a 16-hour hike and this is what the fuel was when we were coming back down, pretty exhausted. These hit the spot. Crackers with cheese. Again, familiar food. How many of us grew up eating crackers with cheese? There's some salt, there's some fat, of course there's carbs. Crackers show up multiple times on this kit for a reason. They are shelf stable, they're flexible, and easy to eat under stress and on the move. Now we move on to some of the drinks. So here is an electrolyte packet from Relight. You need salt, you need some magnesium, and you need some potassium. Otherwise, you're gonna have issues with cramping. If you're out moving more than you've ever had to move for quite some time, you definitely want some electrolytes. So this is critical. Stress plus movement plus dehydration leads to really bad decisions. This is one of those quiet items that makes everything else work that much better. Also, a coffee or tea packet. If you're into tea, good for you, and drink the tea. I like having a little coffee packet. So yes, there's a hot drink again if you have time to stop and the environment lets you do so. In extreme cold, a hot drink can stave off hypothermia. That would be really important in that situation. Lunch crashes are real and caffeine can help alertness when it counts. If you can't drink the coffee hot, you can actually eat the contents of the coffee stick and make coffee in your mouth and wash it down with some water. This last little item is some peanut brittle. Again, I like it, so I threw it in. You get a little protein, you get a little fat, and you get quite a bit of carbs. So again, high energy, on the move food. So if you eat everything here, lunch lands you around 800 to 900 calories, and you never had to stop moving. The next thing we're gonna talk about is dinner. And at this point, I'd invite you to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button that tells the YouTube algorithm that more people should see this. There's also a new button on YouTube, one that helps me as a creator. It's called the hype button. If you hype this video, thank you. I really appreciate it. With that being said, you can also support this channel by supporting your own preparedness. In the description, there are links to products that I use and believe in. Some of them are all on this table. There is also my Amazon storefront, my freeze-dried food solution store, Thrivalist, which also teaches survival courses. There's also a link to a flashlight provider, Woobin Lights, and a precious metals provider, Silver Gold Bull. I buy from all of these sources, and I've made it easy for you to prepare as well, using my experience to your advantage. Again, I thank you for your support in this, keeping content like this free for you. Let's get back to the video. Dinner. Dinner is about recovery. Hopefully you can slow down a little bit. Warm food if possible, comfort, resetting for tomorrow. One of our main pieces in here is our flavored rice side dish packet. These are pre-cooked. You can actually eat these cold or hot, but these are lightweight, high carb, easy to cook. It absorbs the flavor, it stretches protein, and fills you up. Now remember, you can eat this cold. You just take the top off, you mix in your chicken, mix it up real good, and you can eat this on the go. You can eat it cold, no problem. But how we cook it is we add a little bit of water into the bottom. So I mean a couple tablespoons, maybe, yeah, like a quarter cup or something like that. And then you put in your rice, and you put in your chicken out of the can, and you kind of chunk up that chicken with your spoon that you have, and then you put it on low heat. So you just have this on basically a simmer mode, and you stir this up a little bit so that it doesn't burn on the bottom, and in about 3 to 4 minutes, you've got a really hot, high protein, high energy meal. And if that wasn't enough protein and energy for you, there is a beef pepperoni stick in here. That is extra protein and fat. There's also salt. There's also that chew factor that I was talking about, and there is good satisfaction. And with dinner, I do have a tea packet. Again, I don't do well with caffeine after about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is some caffeine-free, just herbal tea. And that calms you down, it can warm you up, and it can help you just slow down and relax. There's also a hot chocolate pack, and let's get the spoon out. There's another spoon in dinner, of course. So breakfast you have a spoon, and dinner you have a spoon, because those are the 2 meals that you need to use those. So there's also a hot chocolate packet, and this is again morale in powdered form. There's a little bit of sugar, there's warmth again, and there's that little bit of normalcy. So in a stressful situation, that matters more than people want to admit. This meal system works with the same stove, the same pots. You could use this little pot, or this pot if you have a group. And just like breakfast, this can be eaten cold. Now, I would recommend, if you are in an environment that you can, eat your meals hot, because that brings a lot of comfort, it relieves stress, and it helps bring that sense of normalcy. So what you see here, this meal equals about 700 to 800 calories. Let's total this all up. So we've got breakfast here, 800 to 900 calories, lunch 800 to 900 calories, and dinner is 700 to 800 calories. So that's 2,300 to 2,600 total calories, depending on what you source your food from, whether it be from your local Walmart, on Amazon, or your dollar store. For most people, this amount of food is enough for work, it's enough for travel, it's enough to deal with stress, it's enough for cold. If you're in extreme cold, I want to say this, add another beef and cheese stick 2-in-1 for more fat and more energy. You could add another protein energy bar, preferably one high in fat, right? It also helps with your decision making, because regular calories like this help you not be hangry in an emergency situation. Now that we've talked about all this food individually, let's talk about why rotation matters and how this system works together. And here's the truth. Preparedness isn't about fear, it's about competence. This system gets used. It gets tested all the time. So that leads to trust. You trust what you carry. You trust what you have. So there's no food wasted, no mystery meals that are just a surprise, and no false confidence. You already know how it tastes. You already know how to cook it. And you already know it works. And that's confidence. And that is real preparedness. And sometimes it's about the little things, like having the MSR pot scrubber with you. I mean, really, you could use this at home in your home sink because it's got a really good scraper, got really good leverage to get in the corners of pots and stuff like that, and it's got a good bristle brush. So it's all the little things that make sense, help make us comfortable, and help us to succeed. If this video helped you rethink emergency food, hit the like, subscribe, and let me know what you put in your rotation system. Thank you so much for watching. Stay ready out there.